If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you're coming back for the second, third, fifth time, welcome back. So I just want to reintroduce myself again. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Faith. I survived domestic abuse for years. I was married, divorced. Um, so I'm really here on this internet to equip men and women, with knowledge about domestic abuse, how to spot the subtle signs, and to just let people know that there is life after divorce. I also want to give anyone, really, men and women, wisdom to find their value in Christ. I think that is one of the most important things for me, where I was able to find my value in Christ, not find my value in the things that I have, not find my value in education, not find my value in beauty, not find my value in anything else, but to find my value in Christ and to find my worth in Christ. So I think that is the biggest message, that I want to I want people to know. So today we're going to be listening to Marietta's story. Marietta is going to be telling us about how she was almost unalived by her husband. So please sit back and relax, and let's all learn from her story. See you on the other side.
My name is Marietta Kirkendall. I will be describing my story, how I survived domestic violence. I met my ex-husband when I was 34. I met him at a wedding. Everything was almost perfect. He was a nice gentleman. He said the right words. What great way to meet a person at a church. I thought it was heaven sent or God sent to meet someone. He felt like he found the right person. At the time I was single, so I was excited. I was 34. He was actually 19 years older. We met in June and we got married in August. Why wait? Some of my family members was telling me to take my time, and I was like, no, I think I can handle it. We got married in Vegas. That night, a mask just came off. He turned into a whole different person that night. He was really angry, and I couldn't understand why. That was like one of the red flags that I noticed of aggression. I noticed a lot of drinking, a lot of cursing me out, like, you do that for, or why you dancing like that? It was more of aggressiveness, like on special days for me, birthday, Mother's Day, around the holidays. As soon as he started drinking, it's almost as if totally different. It was either hitting me, choking me. It was just out the blue. He'd start an argument and then just get angry as if he was mad at someone else, but took the anger and aggression out. Cruise for our first year anniversary. We went out to eat. My ex-husband, he wanted to gamble. When he went to gamble, I left out my room and I was just walking around a cruise. This was my first cruise, so I was excited. But when I came back to the room from walking around, just touring the boat, he accused me of being with someone else. I knew I couldn't trust you. You a cheater, and just started yelling and cussing at me. He got in my face and was cussing at me even more. He said, you ain't nothing, but you're around here cheating with other men. He hit me again. I blanked out, and when I woke up, it was crew members at the door. I asked him, is everything okay? And right away, he pointed to me, to the crew members. Oh, it's her fault. She's around here acting like a hoe, trying to cheat on me while we...
I love it when she says, what a great way to meet someone, because she met this man in church. I mean, I can understand how people can have that twisted, because we assume that people who go to church are these great guys, and obviously they pretend to be the best thing, here for the Lord and all of that. But in my experience, and in a lot of women's experience, the worst people that you can ever meet in your life, unfortunately, they are in church. So I think she made the assumption, because she met this man in church, that he was great, and or he was godly, or had a sense of godliness. Even that on its own is not good, but people think that just because you are in the presence of the Lord, then you are there, for the Lord, or yeah, or you're a good man, which is not the case. And she mentioned something about the age difference between the two of them. It's 19 years. Now, I'm not one to judge people who date people who are much older than them, at all. I actually have seen relationships that have succeeded, marriages that have succeeded between um, a man who's older, especially, and a woman who's younger. But I think there needs to be a whole lot of things in common. For example, values need to be the same. Fitness routines, because you really don't want to be, driving someone on a wheelchair while while you are fit, and you exercise every day, and he's just sitting at home. I really think that also in our culture, it's not something that is frowned upon for a younger woman to be dating an older man. But I don't know about the 19-year age difference though. But yeah, every man to himself. But I really don't want to, talk a lot about that. Uh, it's your decision if that's what you want. If you want a man that is older than you, 19 years older than you, great, not a problem. But I think though that she didn't really take the time to do a background check on this guy, because if someone is that much older than you, then obviously there are some things. Well, he's been in this life 19 years before you, for one. He's done a whole lot of things um, with his life. So I think it's important that you need to do a background check on this man and find out like what happened with his last relationship, the one before that, and the one before that one. If he's been married twice, find out what happened. I really, really, really want to advise women, as much as there's so much unhealthy competition with women who happen to be the new wife, um, especially if that man has kids with the previous wife. For me, I think you better be friends with her. I think it's best for you to be friends with her, or at least get to know each other, especially if you're going to be looking after her kids. It's in your own interest. And one of the reasons I'm saying this is you don't know that man more than that woman. Fine, you might think now that you've won the lotto by, by being the new woman. You've taken over some of the things that belong to the other woman, including the men. But if this man has kids with this woman, she's not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. There's nothing you can do about it. She's going to be in that man's life for the rest of his life. So it's better for you to get to know the other woman. I'm not saying be friends. You don't need to be friends. But it's in your best interest to find out what happened between the two of them. And, you know, 99.9% of the time, the man is going to lie to you about why they broke up. A lot of women would escape evil men, would be saved from relationships that will drain the life out of them if only they spoke to the ex-wife. Sure, some ex-wives are bitter about whatever, which has nothing to do with you. If a woman is bitter about what the man has taken from her, and now you think that it's yours, it's not yours either. If a man can do that to a woman that he has built wealth with, if he can leave her out in the street and bring you in the house that they've built together, chances of that happening to you are very high. So back to the fact that you need to have some kind of relationship with the ex-wife of your husband, especially if she has kids with him, because she's going to be in his life forever, because they have a bond, they have kids together. You would, for example, if I were to marry someone who has an ex-wife now, who has kids with the ex-wife, obviously I'll do the research and find out who this man is. I would do a thorough, because I've learned my lessons. Okay, I'll do a thorough background on this man. I'll find out what he's all about. I'll find out how he broke up with this woman. Obviously, I'll ask him, but I won't just take his word for it, because I need to make sure that I'm of what I'm getting myself into. The kids are going to come to our house as well. I'm going to be the mother of the kids, the second mother. I'm not going to try to be the mother of the kids when the mother is there. That is another thing that some women make a mistake. If the mother of those kids is still very much alive, loves her kids, you can only be the second mother. Like, you don't have to take over the kids and be the one to decide which school those kids go to, what they wear, what this and the other one, unless the kids are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and unless you love them also, because kids know when you love them, kids know when you don't love them. You're just here for their father, they can see that. So I think it's really important that, oh, for me, I was talking about me, I would find out, I would talk to that woman, I would meet that woman with this man next to me, and I would talk to this woman, and I would because I want to see how they relate to each other. I want to see how they relate to each other, because it's important how this husband of mine that I this husband of mine that I love, how he treats his ex-wife, because that's important to me. It doesn't have to be important to you, but for me, that's important. I don't want my husband being rude to his ex-wife. I don't want my husband hating his ex-wife. I don't want my husband talking bad about his ex-wife unless I've seen it for myself. I don't just in general, I don't like people telling me how bad somebody is. I want to experience that for myself. So I think Marietta also, she mentioned, she said that they met in June and they got married in August. Bruh, that is 2 months. That's not enough time to make a decision like that, a decision to marry someone. And she says, well, why wait? Listen, if you're going to spend the rest of your life with somebody, the wait is not a problem. The wait shouldn't be a problem. We're going to spend the rest of our lives together, right? So, like, why are we in a rush? What are we rushing for? We have our lives to live together. We have all this life to live together. But this 19 year this man that is 19 years older than her convinced her that it's fine to get married within 2 months. I don't think that's great. I don't think she made a good decision there. So now, they got married within 2 months, and then they went on their honeymoon. And the man, she says, she saw the true colors of the man. I promise you that there were some red flags that she ignored, because the thing is with us women, when we are in love, we choose not to see things, even though they're right in front of our face. Like, we choose not to see them. We just refuse. We can see that there's something wrong here, there's something wrong there. I don't understand that. What did he mean by saying that? But you don't want to rock the boat, because you're enjoying this, because this is something that you've always wanted. You've been dreaming about this all your life in some cases, and now you really just don't want to rock the boat. You just want to keep things as normal as possible, because you can't wait to have the ring on your finger, can't wait to wear the white dress, can't wait for the picket white fence. I think that is the one of the mistakes that she made. Like, there's no rush. There's no rush. If you're going to be with someone for the rest of your life, take your time to know him. Take your time to know him. Take your time to see him in all seasons of his life. Take your time to dig and find out about past traumas, childhood traumas, all of these things. You cannot do that within 2 months. I don't care how much you love somebody. I don't think 2 months is enough time to say that, this man or this woman is worth my, is worth my heart. Because I believe that when you're getting married to someone, you're saying till death do us part, and you are literally giving that person your heart. You are inviting that person in your life forever, and that's a big thing. That's a big decision to make. It's not something that can be made within 2 months. And narcissists do this all the time. Narcissists are able to see what you need in your life. They're able to find, to get inform to gather information from you, from the things that you say, and they want to know about your past. You would find out that in relationships like this, he would want to know more about you than you would know about him, because he wants to become the man that you want, because they're very good at pretending, right? Narcissists, they pretend to be the men of your dreams. They love bomb you. They do all of these things that you've ever wanted in a man, because they got the information from you, by the way. They know that if your father was not around when you were growing up, for example, they're going to be everything that your father could have been. They're gonna be they're gonna be there. They're gonna tell you that they care about you and how much they love you, how much they want to fill every void that you had in your life, which is not the truth, because only God can fill a void in your life. No man, no woman can fill a void in your life. Only God can do that. A man can love you great. You can spend your life with somebody. You can have a friend. You can have a shoulder to cry on. But if you have any void, no man, no woman can fill that. Only God can do that, because He's the one who created you, not these people. So she was probably showered with love and affection, at the start of the relationship, that made her think that this is it. This is no doubt. This is my husband. I've got no doubt. Um, and she says that on the same night of the wedding, she saw the red flags. I need to hear more about that. So let's go back to the video.
While we were on our anniversary, it was like it immediately was blamed on pointing fingers at me like I was a bad person. And the crew members asked me that I want to press charges. We were in a whole another country, and I'm like, well, if I press charges, what happens? They're like, oh, well, he has to stay here and get arrested. I didn't want that. I didn't want him to be left in another country. They separated us on a cruise. Eventually, he came back to my room apologizing. I accepted the apology. I dropped all the charges. When we were exiting the cruise, one of the crew members, I said, make sure you take good care of her. He shook his head. He said, don't worry, I will. Every time abuse happened, it was a big apology with a gift. It was always something expensive to say, hey, sweep that under the rug. Like, if we're married, I want this to work out. And that's what I wanted. I said, hey, I want my family. I want to leave this cruise. I had already had my daughter. We have a kid together. I came home from work one day. I had a brand new wedding ring, upgraded on the bed, bottle of champagne, and I'm sorry card. Moving forward, we went on a trip to Florida to visit my sister. I had my oldest daughter in the back seat. He was drinking. It was always a drinking moment. Whenever he got drunk, he was drinking. We were on expressway. He started talking crazy to me, and he ended up hitting me while he was driving. My daughter in the back seat screaming, crying, don't hit my mom. He was swerving on the expressway. He said, I'll kill us all. If you don't shut up, I'll kill us all.
I'm lost for words, because Marietta just said that on the first night of their cruise, these men beat her up. These people, you guys, are out there in the waters somewhere on a cruise, celebrating their marriage or their 1 year anniversary. And then she decides to go out and walk around, and then this man beats her. Same night, showing her his true colors. I don't know, like, oh my God, I just can't imagine what that felt like for her. And for someone to do that in a place that is full of other people, where he knows that other people will are going to see it, they're going to know about this. For me, that shows the the boldness that this man has. And for me, that says that this is not the first time this man is doing this. He's done it before. And he's accusing her of cheating. He knows. He knows that that's not true. But that's what narcissists do, because that's what they do. And now they will say that you did all the things that they are doing. They will accuse you of cheating. They'll accuse you of talking to other men. They'll accuse you of showing off your body to other men. All of these other things that they do. Let's hear more of her story. I think she mentioned something about gambling, and I really do want to talk about that.
swerving on the expressway. I finally convinced him to go in the gas station. I asked someone in the gas station, just call the police. He ended up jumping out the car and running and hiding. Police talked to both of us. He was a good manipulator. He always made things sound like it was either my fault or I'm the crazy one. A lot of times he could get people to believe his side of the story over mine. So the officer said, hey, you guys are good. I'm like, I guess so. Nothing's going to happen. Got back in the car. We were at the house. A lot of times, a lot of things happened at the house. He choked me. I called the police. I always, I got in the habit of calling the police. The police used to come to my house so much. They already knew who it was. But it was always male cops. I noticed there was always male cops. And they always talked to him separately. I don't know what he would tell these cops. But he always was let off with a slap on the wrist. And I would even show them videos. Hey, this has happened. This is what he said, because I started recording. You can't really afford to be here by yourself. He told me he's the breadwinner. So are you sure you want to take him to jail? Then what you and the kids are going to do? I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be put out. So you're right. Another incident, I was taken to jail for defending myself. He punched me. I hit him over the head with the first object that I could find. Hit him over here with a bottle. He was bleeding. The paramedics seen that. Out of all the police reports I had, they seen him bleeding and were like, sorry, Miss Brown, we have to take you to jail. I'm like, me? Worse day of my life, because I also did corrections, so I know what jail is like. So it was terrible for me, the innocent person who's been enduring so much pain, to get taken to jail. I was in there for a whole weekend. They banned me from coming back home, so I had nowhere to go. They didn't want us to have any contact. I went to go stay with my mother, who at the time was in a senior citizen building. My ex-husband called the senior citizen building and put an alert out that I was staying with my mom. Mind you, she couldn't have anybody else staying with her. She was afraid to be evicted, so I had to leave. Me and my daughter went to a shelter, and this month was the month of December. So to see so many families get together, it was around the holidays, and we were there just trying to make it. I kept going back. I didn't make a lot of money. I was like, how would I survive here? My mother was already here. I just felt like I had no scapegoat. I felt like I had to go back up. I was 38 years old. It was literally 3 days after celebrating my 38th birthday.
I just can't. I just can't with stories like this. Every time I listen to a story like this, I get so worked up. I get a lot of emotions. I think I really feel for these women. I really, really, really do feel for them. My heart breaks, man, because she said the man is a gambler. Now I'm gonna tell you something. One thing about gamblers, those people are unstable. There's no control there. There is absolutely no control. I have an ex-friend who's a gambler. My friend is the kind of person who, if he wants to do something, let's do it now. Let's do this now. Let's go there now. And when even when he sends you a message, you can see that this person is anxious. That's the best way that I can be. They're anxious about everything. They are worried about everything. They just want to do it now. Whatever it is, they just want to do it now. So when she mentioned that he was a gambler, for me, that was just another huge red flag. Like it would have. It's just a no-go zone. I'm not saying people must judge people who are gamblers, but just know that they are anxious, that they are worried, that until they get the healing that they need, until they leave the gambling world and they get healed, if they're still in there, they're not in. There's nobody there. There's just the anxious gambler inside of them. Um, so this man was aggressive. This man was beating her up. This man was drinking, and when he would drink, he would say things. He would accuse her of things. He would call her names. He beat her in front of a child. This is a lot. This is a lot. My heart sank when she mentioned that this man beat her in the car while he was driving in front of a child, and the child said, "Don't beat my mom." I think that moment just took me back a little bit to my own story when my ex-husband was strangling me in front of my daughter, and I don't even think I can't even remember what my daughter was saying at that time, but my daughter was right there. My daughter was right here, and this man was right here because I was laying on the floor. I don't think my daughter will ever forget that. So my heart bleeds for people who stay in toxic marriages and stay in toxic relationships because they think they are doing it for the kids. You're not doing the kids a favor. You are killing those kids. My daughter will never forget what her father did, no matter what her father does. My daughter will never forget that. I think my daughter was 4 or 5 years old when he did that. This woman's child will never forget what this person did. It doesn't matter if it's only a verbal abuse. It doesn't matter. Any type of abuse, kids can pick up on these things. So I don't think it's for me. I think it's the worst thing that you can do to say that you are staying in an abusive and an unhealthy, toxic marriage or relationship because of the kids. You are destroying those kids. Kids never forget. They will carry that thing for the rest of their lives. Um, Now another thing that she that I really want to put this point across is the fact that on the cruise they told her to press charges against this man, but because of this, the softness that we have as women, we want to take care of everything and we want to take care of everybody. I can imagine that this woman, she says she dropped the charges, or she didn't file any charges because she was feeling sorry that this man is going to be separated from his kids, and he's going to now stay, is going to be arrested in this foreign country that they were in. I can't say what decisions she could have made at that time, but this is what we do. A lot of women who have been unalived by men, they give them chance after chance after chance and forgive them, and they want to see the best in him, and they're hoping that they can change him, and they're hoping that their prayers, God is going to answer their prayers, that the man is going to change, that if they pour, you know they turn their love up a notch, that this man is going to change. No, it's not. None of that is going to help. The only person who changes is a person who wants to change. Your love, your embrace, your motherly care cannot change a man. You cannot do that. You don't have the power. You didn't create him, so you cannot change him. Your prayers can definitely not help him. We have God has given us willpower. God has given us freedom. God has given us, I don't know the right name, but I have it in my mind, but it's just that it can't come to my, I don't know how to say it. But God has given us free will, you guys. This woman met this man in church. It's not some man that she met in a tavern somewhere. She met this man in a church, and she had assumptions about who he was, the kind of man that he was. She didn't take the time to know him. She didn't take the time to go to God about him and ask God, do you want me to marry this man? Who is this man? Show me who this man is. That is the mistake that we do as well as Christian women, that we take people at face value, and but we are told to test the spirit. How do you test the spirit then if you take people at face value? Friends, men, women, partners, everybody, we are told to test the spirit. Pastors, test the spirit. See what's inside of them. Don't just look at a person from the outside and look at their smile and think that they are a great person. No, guys. This world is full of evil people, and we need to understand that. And we need to understand that these evil people are not in a tavern. They dwell within the churches, they dwell within the spaces that we can never think they exist in. But those are exactly the places that they want, because they want the women that are vulnerable. They want women who are, they want women who they can manipulate. And it's very easy to manipulate a woman who you meet in church, because we can be gullible. Because we are told that we should be loving, we should embrace everyone, we should pray for everyone, we should, we should love everybody, we should not judge everybody. And that can get twisted. That doesn't mean you should not test the spirit, though. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have boundaries, though. That doesn't mean that you should not stick to your word and mean it. That does not mean that everybody can just come into your life and you should just spread your arms to welcome them. I mean, Jesus also had 12 disciples. I'm sure he could have had 5,000 disciples, but he only wanted those 12. There's a reason for that. It really, really pains me. Um, it really, really pains me because she mentioned something also that happens a lot. Like, even if you get the person arrested, you go and drop the charges because they whisper sweet nothings in your ear, because they promise to change, because they bring you gifts. Do you want gifts, or you want the person to change? Is it gifts that you want, or you want to see the change? Is it an apology that you want, or you want an apology that goes with action? Because I think that's what you would want. You would want actions to come with the apology before you run off to the police and drop the charges. I think that would be the best thing to do. You'd say, okay, fine. Well, you apologize, I forgive you, but let's see what happens within the next 3 months, 6 months. You really want, change. You really want to see change. You really want somebody to change. You don't need no apology. You don't need no gifts from them. Definitely not more manipulation, because that's what you're doing. If you are forgiving him and taking the gifts and then going to drop the charges, the only thing that that person is thinking about, oh, okay, then I can do this again to her, and I know exactly how to fix it. I'm gonna buy her a gift again. I'm gonna take her to a holiday somewhere. I'm gonna buy her gifts. I'm going to buy her roses. That's when these people get to manipulate you and then call you crazy when you tell them the truth, and call you and say it's your fault, that I was a good man. I changed.
I just came back in from Texas. I flew to see a best friend. My ex-husband said, hey, you spent your 38th birthday with your friend. I want you to spend your, the rest. Let's celebrate together. I sent the kids away to mama. The whole day was fine, but I did notice he was doing excessive drinking. I did tell him, because I said, you're on new medications. I said, you need to slow down. You need to not drink so much. Oh, I didn't take my medications today, so I'm fine. Went by my neighbor's house. He loved to play cards. He was playing cards with them, and I was talking to the neighbor's wife at the time, and he was asking where I was. They said, oh, she's in there talking to my wife. And like, oh, well, can I go in your house? No, they fine. Let the ladies hang out in there. And he was like, okay, could you call my wife and ask her to come here? I said, hey, what's going on? Oh, I think we need to leave. We left and went back home, and he started pacing, and he's like, were you in there cheating with a man? And why they didn't want me to come in there and see you? I'm like, absolutely not. I was like, calm down. I said, we were just talking, me and the ladies. Well, I don't think they're good friends for you. That's another thing. He didn't like me having friends or talking to other people. I don't think they're good friends for you. And I was like, cool, we can just sit at the house. So got changed. I took a shower, got in the bed, and he started pacing. Going back and forth, and he's just like, I'm just tired of this shit. I'm like, what are you tired of? Tired of you treating me any type of way? I said, listen, it's time for you to leave. I said, because I don't want to go through this again. 5 minutes later, I heard the door open back again. Came back in the room. In my room, I'm laying in the bed. He said, you're jealous of me. I said, I'm not jealous of you. I said, I asked you to leave. He said, I should just kill you. I started crying. I said, you know what? I said, I'm so sick and tired of you threatening me. I said, do what you need to do. He choked me while I was laying on the bed. He put his knees, pinned me down while I was in the bed, and he choked me. And he punched me so hard in both sides of my cheek. I wear contact lenses. Both of my contact lenses came out in my mind. I remember seeing him dig in his pocket, pulling out a blade. So I immediately put my hand up, which still is a scar here. My tendon was cut, which I can barely still bend my ring finger. My tendon was cut, and then I felt the knife here on my throat. So I raised out of my bed, and that's how it caught me from here all the way over to here, I had about 38 stitches in my face. I just stopped trying to fight. I
No,
rolled over.
Marietta's story really breaks my heart. I think I can see, I can, I can see myself in her story. I can see some of the things that have happened to me in the story that she's telling. I think that's one of the things that are getting me, worked up. um, Guys, honestly, if there's one thing that I can tell you, if you're going to leave an abusive relationship, abusive marriage, toxic marriage, as a woman, if you've actually made that decision to leave, don't go back. Because when you go back, for these sick people, you are giving them the right to unalive you, and they will do that. So this man, they were driving, and this man was swerving. She mentions that this man was swerving on the road, like she was putting them in danger with a child. Yes, they do that. My ex-husband did that. Not only put me in danger, but the child in danger. That's how sick they are. These people can pretend in front of people. She mentions that whenever she would call the cops would talk to him. That's exactly what happened to me. This man is all the way on the other side of the world. I'm on the other side of the world. But the same officers, they do the same thing. I tell you, that's why I always say domestic abuse stories are similar. They might not be the same, but they are similar. Doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're pink. They are similar because the same spirit is in different people. The same spirit is in different countries. This lady says that this man was would talk to the cops, and then the cops would believe him. She doesn't know what she would talk to the cops about, but the cops would come to her and say, "Do you really want to leave this man? You depend on this man. Your kids depend on this man." One of the things that she made was to not have money of her own. I always tell women this: please, 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 even if you work for 5 rand per hour, have your own money. Find a way to have your own money. Don't be embarrassed about how you make your money. That's going to help you. One of the main reasons why women get abused or why women stay in these situations is because they have nothing. They've built their lives around this man. They depend on this man for their breath. Please don't do that. Have your own money. Find a way to make money, no matter how little it is. Save up some money for yourself. Abusers, narcissists, whatever you want to call them, they are the best actors everywhere. People would say you are lying. If you tell the truth about how they treat you, they know how to act. They've acted with you. They've acted with you before you married them. They've acted with you before you've accepted them in your life. They were everything that you've been looking for in your life. So why wouldn't they act with the police? Why wouldn't they act in the church? Why wouldn't they act in their workplace? Why wouldn't they work in they act in their communities? That's the best thing that they do. It's acting. Tell someone if you're going through something like this, if you're being abused in any way, shape, or form, tell somebody. Even if it's your family member, somebody needs to know, because when you're unalive, then people don't even know what happened to you. Have someone that you tell somebody so that you can have a place that you can hide your head for one day at least when you've left this place, because you do want to be in a safe space. Justice, that's a whole nother topic when it comes to situations like this. I think one of the reasons that made her um that kept her going back is the fact that she really felt powerless. And that's what these people do to you. They suck the energy out of you. They render you powerless. They want you to not see the power that you have within yourself. They can see that you have it. They literally harvest your energy. They harvest that. Man. And she says something about this man, um or she was arrested. She was now, all of a sudden, she was the perpetrator because she was arrested. Bruh. Now that hit a chord with me, because in during the divorce, what happened was we had filed, what do they call them in South Africa now, where someone can't get close to you or whatever. But it was weird because we were staying in the same house. So it was really, it was just about, if he touches you, call us, we'll come and arrest him. If she touches you, because he lied, obviously, and told people that I was the one who was beating him, I was the one who was doing this and the other one. That is something that they do all the time. But she says now, when she called the cops and the paramedics and stuff, and I think she now fought for herself, and but these people saw blood in this man, and they said, we need to call the cops because you did this to him, and she ended up in jail. I promise you, that man was celebrating. When the mother of his kids was in jail, he was celebrating because he thought he had won, right? Because they've got this thing of thinking that they've won. Every time they put you down, every time they succeed in making you feel like you are worthless, like you are nothing, like you'll never amount to anything in this life, they feel that they've won. So she went to prison instead of him going to prison, because he's the one who beat her. He's the one who was abusing her. He's the one who was, he's the one who was threatening her life, threatening a child's life. But for some reason, as the devil doesn't sleep at night or during the day, she's the one who ended up in jail, and he was celebrating. Even when she tried to flee, to go to where her mother was staying, this man reported her. Very familiar story. Very familiar story. I'll tell you about my own thing that I went through. So when my ex-husband tried to unalive me, and then I reported it, and there were threats, and there were all of this smear campaign telling everybody how much of a bad person I am, how much of a drunk I am, and all of these things. One day, we came back from the court to fetch these things, these papers that they give you. I just forgot what this thing is called. Um, and then I'll remember. And then so he got his, and I never got mine, because we were told that the judge is going to be there after 3 or something. So I went home before that, but apparently he was still in the court. So he got his. So when we got home, he cooked up some story, called the police, said I'm beating him, and I was not even in the same room as him. I was downstairs and he was upstairs. So I don't know how, but anyway, that's how they are. They create stories, they cook up things, they make up things. I just had the police coming to fetch me, and I'm like, what's happening? And they said, no, he says you beat him. Like, there's nothing on him. The house is immaculate. There's nothing. There's no furniture moved. There's nothing broken. So how? When did I beat him? And the cops, male cops, they said, well, we don't have anything to discuss here. Let's go to the station. I was in the station. I was in jail in my gown. I was in jail in my night dress because I had just taken a shower and I was about to sleep when these people came to fetch me. That man was celebrating. I'm sure he was calling everybody, celebrating. So I know exactly what this woman is talking about. I've been there.
I rolled over to the floor. I heard him stand over me and said, yeah, that's a lot of blood. You're going to die. I heard him walk out of the front door. I heard the door close. I immediately got up, ran, had my gun in my linen closet in my bathroom. I ran and got my gun, and I ran outside, and I just started shooting. I end up catching him in his left knee, and I hid after that. I heard him say, you shot. Immediately, I want to say, hey, are you okay? But my instinct said no. I ran around the neighbor's house. I went to their back door and knocked on their door. They let me in. They were in shock. They couldn't believe. They gave me a towel. Mary, what happened? I'm like, up me. And they called the ambulance right away, and they came. If it wasn't for me having protection, I probably would have not survived at all. So for me to think fast and to try to protect myself, that is one of the reasons why I survived. I was transported to Grady Hospital, and so was he. Stitched up, interviewed by the cops. They came in. I had to stay overnight for monitoring. He was already released. I did later find out that the detective was like, he was behind that door waiting for you. If you would have came in here, you would have been out of here. That's not your blood. He had came back to the house and actually broke in the house through the garage, came back in, and I guess took a few things, which didn't matter. I didn't care. But eventually they arrested him when he did come back to my house to get whatever he did. The cops caught him there that night, and actually has been in prison since March 18th. I remember like it was yesterday. I had literally an angel at the hospital that night. This doctor particularly, she said she doesn't even work often. She stood by my side the whole time. She made sure I was fine. She just made sure I was comfortable. She gave me encouraging words, and she was just like, something is telling me not to leave your side. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't even remember her name, but the kindness that she showed me, it was almost like waking up from a nightmare. He really tried to take my life from me. So I don't take life for granted. So my medical treatment from the hospital, I had 38 stitches in my face. I had surgery on my tendon, my ring finger. I had to go to therapy once a week to just even get the motion back in my hand. I had to go to therapy for emotional support, physical, and of course physical for my hand. And I also ended up with a really bad keloid on my face from the I did get plastic surgery to flatten it down, because it did bother me a lot. But now it's like my war room. I see my scar and I just look and say, you survived. A lot of people are read about and they don't. So that did make me the strong person I am today. By that, my ex-husband did receive 20 years in prison and 5 years supervision. So when he does finish up that 20 years, he still has supervision after that. And I was satisfied. And I'm like, I'm still here. Therapy has been tremendous. I recommend therapy for anyone who's been in any traumatic situation. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay to cry. It's okay to smile. It's okay to move on, because it's not the end of the story. The story continues on. So never be afraid to ask for help, because that's what help is for. And I find myself telling my story to wherever I'm led to tell it to. And it's a lot of people who deal with things in secret and in private because it is embarrassing. And I was that person. I kept a lot in, and it is embarrassing, but don't be embarrassed. Get help. As of now, I'm 40 years old. I bought my second home. I am a business owner of 2 great, successful businesses. I am now helping take care of my mom. I mentor, and I just have a bright light that shines over me. Just willing to continue to spread my positive energy. Whoever is looking for advice, my advice will be to leave to a safe place immediately, even if it's a shelter. I was there. I wasn't comfortable, but I was safe. So to be safe than sorry is the best advice that I can give you. Don't forget about what you're leaving, material things. You can rebuy them. You have one life, and it's important to survive. Focus on surviving. I am grateful to be able to still be here and to share my story with the world, and to know you're not alone, because there's some people, a lot of people live in silence. You're not alone. Speak up, speak out, and it's okay to move on. It may hurt for a little bit at the beginning, but when I promise you, once you move on and you heal, you feel incredible. You feel unstoppable. That is when you break out of your shell and you get to see all the potential that you actually have. We have so much potential. I'm telling you, like, my CPR business is doing great.
When she mentions that this man came back to the house after the hospital episode, because they both went to hospital to get stitched up and stuff. This man came back to the house to try and unalive her, to try and finish what he started, because he was not satisfied with the fact that her face was just sliced, as you can see from the video. He actually wanted her to be underground and buried. The cops told her that we found him hiding behind the door because he knew that she was going to go back to that house. That's how he got arrested. She says what helped her was to think fast and protect herself. She had a gun, luckily for her, in the house, that she was able to shoot him and get out and go to the neighbors. Who knows what would have happened had she not had a gun in the house? Who knows what would have happened if she was not able to think fast? This person clearly had one thing in mind and one thing only. He wanted this woman unalive. That's what he wanted. Something that she mentioned that stuck with me was the fact that when she went to a hospital, there was a woman sitting next, a nurse or a doctor next to her, who said, "I don't want to leave your side," who encouraged her and spoke words on her.
Now it's like my war room. I see my scar.
I remember when I was the day after, the following day, when I went to court, there was a female cop. It was the first time I ever met a female cop, because when you're going through domestic violence and you call cops to come to your house or whatever, because even my house, like she said, the police already knew her house. Even my house, police already knew my house. The neighbors probably saw police cars coming in and out of my house all the time, or parked outside all the time. The neighbors also know what's happening. The neighbors also know. Neighbors can see, man, when something is not right in the house. So I know for sure that my neighbors knew. And when I left my house, my neighbors knew. I know for sure, because neighbors can see. That's another thing that's important, for you to get along with your neighbors, so that you can run to them when something happens in your house, when anything happens in your house. I just don't understand these people that want, uh, 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 that want their neighbors to be enemies. And that's another thing, another problem that I had in my marriage. Like, I didn't feel free to be friends with the neighbors, even though I was friends with some of the people that were friends with. But I was with a monster that, would have a problem with that. I knew that he would have a problem with that, because he used to talk bad about these people and he used to judge them and all of these things. But I'm like, but you don't even know these people. So when she says that there was an angel in the hospital, in my own um battle that I faced, there was a cop that spoke to me. You just know that some people are sent to you by God, because that woman told me a whole lot of things that made me know that, I'm going to be okay. There's a lot of things that she said, but one thing that I want to say is, she told me that, Faith, you it's just going to get worse for you if you stay here. We Next time the police come to your house, is going to be for a different reason. You think I didn't know that? I knew that. But it was nice for somebody else to confirm that to me. I knew that. I knew that this person was plotting to unalive me. I knew that. You know those things, even when it's over, even when you break up with someone. If someone continues to have a problem with you, if someone continues to hate you, if someone continues to talk bad about you, if someone continues to abuse you, which is what knacks do, especially if you have a child with him, they'll be using the child against you. For example, they'll make sure that they spend more time with the child, or when you want the child, you don't get the child. So now the control is no longer They've just changed. They switched switched it off, like switch it up, because now they know that they can't control you as the woman because you're no longer in their lives. But they still want to have that control, so they're gonna use the kids. They're gonna use the kids to control you. So this beautiful lady left, and then she came back. I don't blame her, because I know that she was hoping that she would things would change, that you know it will be different this time, but it wasn't. In fact, it was worse. This man asked her to come and spend um, her birthday with him, because she's been spending it with everybody else but him. That's not what he wanted. She went to the neighbors, you know, as friends, to hang around them. The audacity of these people, you won't believe. This man goes to that house, bold, and accuses this woman of cheating on him. He's not scared. They're not scared of anybody. They're not scared of anyone, including the pastors, for those who go to church. No, 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 no. They'll do anything to you in front of the pastors. The pastors that they respect. These people, this these people have no shame. They have no morals. They have no dignity. They have nothing. They don't care. In front of the neighbors, this guy wants to see this woman. What in the world would make someone believe that you are cheating when you are right next door at your neighbors? He tells her that these people are not good friends for you. So who's the good friend for her? Him? I think not. He just doesn't want her to be smiling with anybody. He just doesn't want her happy. That's all. He actually wants her unalive. That's what these people want. It's not like the fact that they are jealous of you being friends with everybody else, or they don't want you to be happy. No, the one thing that they want is for you to be unalive. That I can tell you for free. They don't want you to be on this earth. They just have a problem with your existence. It's not you. In most cases, these people are dealing with issues. I'm not trying to make an excuse for them, but these guys refuse to heal from traumas that you know nothing about. You are just, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to say like you're just something for them to use, but that's exactly it. They have no shame for this man to go to their neighbors and actually ask for this woman, even though the man says leave the woman alone. They are talking, they're having fun, and for him to say I want my wife, like she must come out. Now they go to the house and he threatens her again, and he continues with the accusations. He continues with the threats, and now she's sick and tired, and she's like, just do it, do whatever you wanted to do. No shame at all. No shame at all. No shame at all. Because that's what he's been planning all along. He's been waiting for that moment. He's been waiting for that moment for her to give up. And now that she had, he slices her face. I promise you, he wanted to do more than that. I'm sure he wanted to do more than that. The woman didn't do anything. But the people of this world will be talking and accusing this woman of things because they listened to what this man said. Because this man can pretend. He looks good on the outside. He's smiling everywhere he goes. People gravitate towards him because he's a nice man. How can you say this about this man? Such a nice man. People will even say that you are lucky to have a husband like that. You are lucky. You are blessed to have a man like this, even though you know that he's a monster at home. I love it when she said, don't be embarrassed, because it's embarrassing to tell your story. Guys, I know what she's talking about. Don't be embarrassed. Tell somebody. Don't worry about the material things that you lose, because you can always buy them again, but you can't buy your life again. You can't. There's nobody like you. You can't do that. Look after yourself. She go to it doesn't matter if you live in the cheapest place on earth. Doesn't matter if you leave your mansion. It's better to be in a small little one bedroom house than be in a mansion and you're unhappy and you've got all of this glitz and glamour but you're unhappy. I love the message that she's putting out there now. She says something about blossoming after she left this. She was in the dark. When you are with these people, you are in the dark. You can't even see your own light. Now she can see the light of God. She is becoming the woman that she was meant to be. This was just a plan this was just a plan from the devil to dim her light, to destroy her life and to make her feel worthless, to make her not see her worth. That's how it is. I love the fact that she wants to tell her story. Tell your story. I will tell my story until I die. They would have to unalive me for me not to tell my story. I will tell my story until the day I leave this earth because it's my story, it's my experience. I went through it. I survived it. I love women like this who come out of the shackles and tell others their story, even though they were embarrassed, but they are able to speak and say, I went through that. And if I can go through that and survive, so can you. That is why I do what I do. That is why I'm talking here right now. I love this, man. I love women who come out on the other side and they come to tell others that you too can survive. You too can become everything that God always wanted you to be. You can remove those shackles on your hands. You can remove those shackles on your feet. You can fly like the bird that you were meant to be, like the butterfly that you were meant to be. You can become everything that you've always wanted. She says she bought a second home. Guys, this is just a beautiful story. I love this story. I love the ending to this story because he did not succeed. He did. And one other thing, you will thrive after you leave an abusive, toxic relationship or marriage. I can promise you that. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I know it doesn't feel like that right now, but I can promise you that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.